Great. You guys can all see this, and here we go. This is a presentation that is a bit of a derivative of our recent win of the EU versus virus hackathon, which has been the largest hackathon in the world so far. And we won in the track of remote education and family life for our AI Intelligent Assistant for Education. So what's an avatar? It's the embodiment of a disembodied spirit, essentially. And the representation of AI in our media or books or film or theater is an avatar. What's the difference between a robot and an AI? That sounds like a joke, like a knock-knock joke. But the difference really is that a robot is a mechanical action. It doesn't really make decisions. It's pre-programmed, and it takes activity. Whether it looks like a human being or not, it's completely pre-programmed. It doesn't make any decisions. Well, HAL is a representation of an AI, which made a lot of decisions and seemed to be self-aware. Not AI doesn't require you to be self-aware. So when we're representing an AI, everyone sort of knows about this uncanny valley. This image here of a creepy AI down at the bottom of the uncanny valley has to do with a corpse. So I liked this representation of the uncanny valley because I think that our responses are biological. We have a revulsion to those things that don't look right. They don't look okay. And they look biologically misfit, and we just don't like dead things. Theater and film has taken advantage of this fear of the dead things, sometimes by disfiguring characters that are representative of AI. So when we're making an AI, we want to avoid the uncanny valley if we want the AI to be attractive. I had the pleasure of working on this project called Toonami back in 1999. The first host of the show Toonami was Moltar, and then the host throughout the rest of the show was Tom. And Tom's personality and his AI-ness was pretty much the same all the way through, but his representation of his body, of his form, changed throughout the course of the show. And I helped to launch Tom 2. They killed off the first one because he was expensive to animate. And this is the GIF here is the entity that came in, swooped in, and dissolved Tom 1. But the AI doesn't have to always have the same form, obviously, but it defines the personality. When I look at Tom 1 and I look at Tom 2, I have a different feeling. Even though Tom 1 and Tom 2, their voicing and their acting and the things they said were really, really similar, the effect on me was different. Tom 1's kind of cute and he's pudgy and he's got a little pot belly and he walks funny. Tom 2 is this muscular, super cool looking robot guy that I just respected more than Tom 1. A lot of people really like Tom 1 because he was so cute. He's kind of adorable. An interesting, strange fact is when they killed him off during the show called The Intruder, that I'm showing you a little clip of, there was an enormous event because it was one of the first times a URL was put on television, and everybody went after that URL. I made the web pages that URL went to, and the media that described Tom's new look and his new weapons and his ship and all kinds of stuff that they were doing to change. And it was like a catastrophic event for the CNN servers, like some huge weather event happened. It was crazy traffic. So I moved on to work in a virtual world, and this is a picture of the avatar that I inhabited during that period where I was working in this virtual world. I sold katanas that this guy's holding here for virtual money that could be converted into real money, and I was in the top 5% or so of any kind of sales in this virtual world. Anyway, Jack Control was the name of this avatar, and he had a specific image that was suitable to selling katanas. He had a particular voice. I had a mood or tone or manner that I used when I was inhabiting Jack Control. This pose is kind of interesting. I had a Japanese artist animate this pose, create this pose for Jet. And when I used authentic katana poses, the sales of this katana didn't even approach the sales of the other katanas I had. People seemed to like sort of like pirates. They animated like swashbucklers, and they liked that katana but a lot better. And the sales of this authentic and historically accurate battling katana didn't do as well. So the animation of your avatar, how does he move? What are his poses? What are the voice? How does this attract? And all of those things matter in how people respond to it. So here's the names, common names, favorite names we've all known of different avatars of AI. Some of the most friendly are Huey, Dewey, and Louie, and they were robots that were the most blocky. But something about them, because of their naming, they were more cuddly, even though they were, in terms of representation of any kind of AI, they're some of the more rudimentary. Kit is a car as an AI. Cortana was a disembodied sort of a spirit in the Halo series. Mrs. Beasley's a favorite of mine from the Jetsons. So the name of the AI that you're creating makes a difference. And this is Yop. Here's our assistant for education. See if this plays.
Meet Yop, the Intelligent Assistant for teachers, parents, and kids. Almost everybody's been shut in during the COVID lockdown. Now that everybody's been staying home, we don't know how to have school when we're not at school. Everybody's confused about how to do this remote education thing. We need somebody to get in the middle of this and straighten us out. And that's me, Yop. I'm an intelligent assistant for parents and teachers and kids. So how do I do it? This is Johnny. He's a model student, but he's locked up at home. I help Johnny in a better way to organize his school studies, and I monitor him and I help him with his homework. I show Johnny's progress to his parents, and I help the teacher by organizing the class, and I help the parents and the teacher to meet together. Siri and Alexa and Google Assistant can't look up your grades for you. This could be a revolution in how studies are organized even after the crisis. I'm now a prototype, and you can talk to me on the main page of this website, but I aim to become integrated into managed learning systems. So how can you get me into your system? I'm free! And if you want more features, my costs are still less than half of what you save. And of course, there's much more we can do to help in educational systems that want to do a little more. There's dozens of people who know about me and are excited to help. Special thanks to Team Yop and all our sponsors. Visit our website at teamyop.com right now.
So I'm going to turn the microphone over to Fenna. Fenna, if you can turn on your mic, I can switch through these slides for you.
Yes, thank you, Brian. Hello, everyone. My name is Fenna, and I live in Amsterdam, and I worked together with Brian on the concept of the hackathon and the video you just have seen. So if you are developing an avatar, how do you do that? and how do you visualize that character to make it believable and, like Bryan said, not creepy? Go ahead, Bryan, to the next
Sorry.
page.
Dope.
Yeah, no worries. Well, the main thing to do is to relate to archetypes. The archetypes, of course, we're talking about now is the archetypes of Jung, which is something he didn't decide, but is in our culture anyway. It's been there for ever since we've started to make drawings and tell stories. And those 12 archetypes tell everything and divide the world into the good and the bad, and the beauty and the beast. And those are the icons of the way we tell stories to each other. So if we relate to that, then that is the main recognizable feature your avatar can bring you. So how do you do that? Step one is first decide what the main, let's say, goal of your character is. So what is he bringing you as audience? Is he providing structure in the story? Is he aspiring to freedom? Is he bringing enjoyment, or trying to relate to a deeper connection? So these are the 4 axes that are really very important to define your character. So first, think deeply about how and what is your character or your avatar. Where does it lay? Then if you've decided that or discovered that, or you know that, for example, it is leaving a mark, your whole story or your game or is about leaving a mark to the world, then decide what your character, how your character is going to provide that to your audience. So in this case, leave a mark is on the right side corner of the axis. Then you've got 3 choices. Doing that by mastery, power, or liberation. I go through this rather quickly. It is some theory you can try to find out and Google deep, but if you know that the way you're going to do that is by power, then you know that everything of your archetype needs to show power. So making design choices needs to be aligned with that. So every choice you do in tone of voice, color, the way it animates, the way it walks, the way it looks, the way everything should be added to that. Those personality features that come to power is the way your persona is been created, in fact. So that's in a big nutshell, the way you could start creating and thinking about your character. And do keep in the back of your mind that the more realistic doesn't always mean that it's easier to connect to as an audience. It is true that in gaming and video, there's a lot designed which is super realistic, but it's not that it has to be realistic. Look at Rembrandt and look at Picasso. It is not the fact that it's realistic that makes me appeal to it. It's the way the archetypal code talks to me and makes me understand what has been shown to me and what has been communicated to me, and makes me believe the character. Yeah. And I've shown Miffy because that's really Dutch, but just to show how stupid simple this image is, and still we know what it is, just a few lines. And look at how big Miffy is and how children relate to it, because they instantly know the character. and it's just a few lines. So keep that in the back of your mind when you do your design. That's it for me.
Okay.
Any questions?